Hey everybody, it's your boy Snyder1 with Snyder Elite Gaming, bringing you another fantastic video. This week, it's the Revenant. Now, I know he's been out for 2 weeks. I know you guys have been just clawing your way through builds and really delving into his numbers. This build is going to solve everything for you. But it took me so long because I wanted to make sure I had a product worth giving you guys. This video is an accumulation of so much research. I looked at a lot of information from a lot of different sources. I looked at videos, I looked at forums, I looked at spreadsheets. I took people doing builds, creative builds. I went on YouTube and looked at YouTubers' builds and tested them myself. A lot of information, and I particularly took an interest in a lot of the spreadsheets and a lot of the math that was out there and how people were proving relationships and how they really affected Revenant's kit. With that being said, I'm going to talk about that because I found it the most interesting and I feel like it's the most viable for you guys in order to make the best builds possible. All the numbers that I got for the spreadsheets were based on intervals, meaning that they took his 4 shots and his reload and made it as a capped time, like damage per second, and they used that as a reference for his damage for their formulas. Now, all the numbers that I took in order to prove the relationships were calculated with SCAR, and they were on every stat possible: penetration, both ability and basic, crit, attack speed, and it was all super informative. I'm just going to jump into it because I know you guys are probably dying for this information. Now, I'm going to start with attack speed. I've seen a lot of attack speed builds out there, especially on Agora, my friends, people just jumping into my party chat to ask questions. All were building attack speed because they wanted to lower, because they are worried about Revenant's reload time. They wanted to drop that time down as much as possible in order to be doing as much damage over time, hitting all their wickets, getting all their ducks lined in a row, saying, hey, this is what I need to do. I'm here to tell you guys that's a bad idea. The way that these spreadsheets were set up were they literally had on one side damage and then another stat up the top, and they sorted it out by CP. Now with the 50 CP build in damage, you have no CP in any other stat category. Their damage was roughly in all damage 50 CP 353. With one gunshot basically. Now, the moment you put 1 CP, so you have 49 in damage, 1 CP in attack speed, you literally were at 342. So 353 to 342. Then it went to 331. Then it went to 321. Then it went to 311, and on and on and on and on and on. Attack speed was reducing your damage significantly by 5%. 5%. That's not going to cut it for a carry / assassin. So, I flipped the spreadsheet over and looked at penetration. Basic pen. Now, for a all power build with penetration, you're looking at 344. Then you drop. Then you go 49. You go over 1. You're at freaking 357. You roughly had a 3.5% increase against casters and a 6% increase against fighters. That's awesome. But the moment you started putting in crit and you started taking a lot of the numbers away from power, all your abilities love power. All your your basic attack loves power. You start to get marginal gains, relatively less than 1%, when you start adding more than just power and penetration. It's not worth it. Now, when I looked at ability pin, your ability pin per that interval was just garbage. It was not even worth mentioning. Don't even do it. It's all decreasing just like the attack speed. Don't do it, because really you only have one ability that can really do a lot of damage with that damage, and then you're getting a little bit of damage on as a bonus for your auto attack. So really, it per what the math from the community, it's not worth it. So the part that I've been dying to tell you guys, crit. You guys want to crit, but what's optimal for them? After looking at the spreadsheets, the optimal form that's catering to both of his abilities and his freaking auto attack is freaking 41 CP of damage, 12 CP of crit. Now that's 767 damage in comparison to the 300s that we had just been talking about. A heck of a ton better. Now, with that being said, that's only 48% crit is what's optimal to cater to both his abilities and his auto attacks. Now, 48%, that doesn't give me a warm fuzzy. That means that there's a possibility for 1%, like one crit happening for your 4 shots. You only get 4 shots. We want to make sure those 4 shots are as deadly as possible because of the way that Revenant's kit is set up. So 48%, I wanted to see what kind of numbers you were dealing with if you were to up that crit. By upping your crit to 76%, so having 34 CP of damage and 19 CP of crit, it was only a 1% decrease. Literally 767 comparison to 760. That's pretty good. That's what I tested. That's what I went into games and matches and tested Revenant against, and I had nothing but success. It was powerful from start to finish. It was awesome. Now, a lot of people, for those guys that don't want to leave anything to chance, they're always looking at 100% crit builds, and I wanted to see if it was viable. And per the math and per the community and the numbers that they were feeding out, you're only looking at a 3.6% decrease. You're literally looking at 735 damage, and you're going to crit every time. You don't got to worry about a miscrit. It looks worth it. I gave that kind of build some buddy of mine, had him test it, and he had tremendous success. So really, you're trying to find out whether or not you want to do 76% crit or 100% crit. Those are my recommendations. You really can't go wrong with that. For my 100% crit build, it was just phenomenal. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my epic deck builder because I have those 2 builds. I'm going to go card by card, stat per stat, show you the DPS per their calculator, and you can judge it for yourself. Try out the build, see what you like, see what you don't like. I'm also going to attach a screenshot of some of my recent game history and show you what kind of kill numbers I've been getting, how high I've been getting up. Granted, I'm not an 80 carry guy, so I have a little bit more deaths than I'm used to. But you know, what am I gonna do? But you guys can judge it for what you want and see if you guys like it. Off to deck builder.